Hello and welcome to Little Home in the Universe. I am Stephen Reese, and today we bake. Yes, we will be making a sable au Breton, so that is a shortbread cookie. We're going to make a large one, create a dam. Inside of that, we will fill it with a pistachio curd. Ooh, yummy. We will then top that with some plums. These are actually dates, plums, dates, whatever. And then we will season these up with maybe a little bit of vanilla, maybe something else. I don't know. Let's find out. I'm going to top all of this with some orange peel that I will candy and a little dollop of whipped cream. And it will be delicious and yummy and scrumptious and just everything that you've ever wanted. All right, let's start. So we'll add some flour to a Cuisinart, chop up our butter, that's a ½ pound of butter. A Cuisinart is crucial for the success in this recipe. You'll see I sandwich my flour and my sugar in between my butter, pulse it a little bit, then add the eggs, the vanilla, and a touch of salt. And then I'm going to pulse it until it resembles coarse sand. This is a very tricky moment for me. I thought I had done something wrong. I hadn't made this in a while, but after kind of manhandling it a little while, I noticed that it did start to form. The butter was seeping out, the moisture in the butter was seeping out into the flour. So we're just going to mash this together and then wrap it in saran wrap and put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. Full recipes can be found online at littlehomeintheuniverse.com. And off it goes into the fridge for 30 minutes. Now to start on the custard. It is a cup of milk and cream, some vanilla, some sugar. That's off to get heated up to just scalding. That's where just a thin film starts on top. I put 2 eggs, some flour, some cornstarch, all into that. We're going to mash it up into a paste, and then we're going to temper our eggs. Because we added sugar in there, our eggs are able to take on more heat, but we can't put the whole thing in at once. We have to add a little bit, then a little more, then the rest. So now that it's all complete, wait, hold on. Okay, come on, put the rest of it in there. There you go. Now that it's all in there, we're going to return that to our pan, and then we're going to apply a low heat to that. So with continual motion over low heat, you'll see that the custard starts to thicken. Some chunks will form. Don't worry about that. You'll stir those out. It'll thicken some more. And then once it gets to this point, we're going to keep cooking it to cook out the starch flavor and the cornstarch. Then put it in the fridge. First, let me just say, you don't have to make it this big. You can make them any size that you want. I'm making 1 large one. Feel free to make 4 smaller ones. So I have a ring mold, and then I have another mold that can cut out the middle of that ring mold. I'm going to roll out my base. You'll see my dough is relatively crumbly. If I allowed it to come up to room temp a little bit more, it wouldn't be as crumbly. But that's fine. I'm still going to work with it, clearly. So all I'm doing is just squishing the edges back together and kind of repatching up my holes. There wasn't a lot of manipulation that happened to this dough, so you don't really have to worry about it being overworked, if you will. So you had a little hole, so I'm just patching it up there, and then my ring mold fits. Perfect. And so I'm just gonna pop that onto a tray. You'll see I have a little spot there that's split. Again, just use your hands, squish it back together. This is another technique. Instead of using your hands, use the wooden rolling pin to whack at the sides of it. Same thing kind of happens. So here I'm cutting out my top mold, and you'll see that I accidentally did that. Whoopsie. But it's fine. Nobody knows. Nobody's in the kitchen except me. So I just squished it back down. I'm going to apply a little egg white. Egg white is our glue to everything. It'll help the top dam stick together. And you'll see I put a little bit there where we had a hole earlier. So I'm just going to pat that down just so it gets nice and stuck. I have a little bit too much. That's fine. Just pinch it off. And congratulations. There we go. And then smooth out the sides. You didn't honestly think I was going to give up that center cookie. Of course I'm going to bake it and eat it. So for all my pastry friends, please look away. I don't have a pastry brush. This is how I do it. I get a piece of paper towel, I get it soaked in some heavy cream, and I douse everything down. It'll give it a nice brown color. Here we are, 20 minutes of baking at 325. Here we are at 30 minutes of baking at 325. Here I'm incorporating 2 ounces of pistachio butter into this really firm custard. I'm doing my best to mix it in, use a Cuisinart, that's all I can say, and then spread it out over the top of your cake. tart thingy, cookie. These are, I call them plums. Apparently the grocery store that I got them from calls them prunes. They're not prunes. I'm going to post a little link here to a delicious cake that you can make, also in your Cuisinart, that you can put these on top of from the New York Times. It is phenomenal. I used to make it at the restaurant that I owned, and there we go. Don't forget to add a little sugar to those plums. They are a little tart. So now we will be making the candied orange peel. So peel some oranges, pretty obvious. Scrape the pith off as best as you can. I'm pretty lazy. And then plop that into some cold water, bring it up to a boil, pour it out, and then repeat that process 3 times. After the 3rd boil, add half a cup of sugar, bring it up to a boil, and shut it off. It's the most wonderful time, pistachio time. So we're just gonna peel a bunch of pistachios. Here's a quick way to get all the skins off, roll them, and then smash them with your hands. I am a fool and should have used the back side of my pan to bake the tart on. You can see here what it would look like if I had done that. So much easier to slide off. Don't worry, nobody'll know, just I'll know. Now you know. So now we're gonna put little dollops of sweetened whipped cream, doing a cute little point tip on all of them. Add some pistachios for some flair and crunch in the center. Make sure that we add a little bit of sugar to that again so that it is sweetened. And then we will just embellish with strips of our candied orange peel. And that is about it, my friends. Feel free to fiddle with it. Always like and subscribe these videos. Full recipes can be found on our website. And here's what it looks like while I'm editing this video. It's delicious.